How many times in our lives do we make a shift? Whether it's by choice or by circumstance, by purpose or by force. Every single person under the sound of my voice has experienced shifts. Some of us shift cities, some shift communities, some even shift identities. But for many of us, the biggest shift comes in our careers. In my world as a talent acquisition leader, one phrase echoes louder than the rest. I'm trying to break into the industry. Bobby, how do I break into tech? Hey, do you think I have what it takes to break in? Over and over, the same words like a chorus of doubt dressed up as ambition. That phrase breaking in is everywhere, on resumes, in podcasts, across social media feeds, even stamped on t-shirts. It started in tech, but now it's spread into every industry, and slowly, it's become more than just a phrase. It's become an identity, it's become a narrative, it's become a brand. Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear break in, I think about ski masks and crowbars, not resumes and LinkedIn profiles. I spend hours with job seekers in this mindset, recruiting them, coaching them, just listening. And when it's quiet, they tell me things they don't say out loud. They second guess their voice in every room. They lean in, ready to speak, then pull back thinking, who am I to say this? They hide their biggest wins like old trophies, convinced they don't count anymore, and they move through their days, afraid that one mistake will prove every doubt they've ever had. And over the years, here's what I've learned. The people most proud to say, I'm breaking in, were often the ones most unsure of themselves, not realizing their own words carved cracks in their confidence. Because while words have power, some words don't ignite, they diffuse. They don't lift you up, they press you down. They don't position you to rise, they convince you you're an outsider just trying to sneak in. And that is where we begin. I want to challenge the language we've been using and the weight it carries within us. Because I'm not here to teach you how to break in. I'm here to help you become. Now, breaking in sounds harmless. No big deal, right? But each time we say it, we lay another brick on this massive wall in our minds that convinces us we're trying to invade an industry we don't belong in. And those bricks, there are words. One phrase at a time, they stack higher, blocking light from our confidence and shadowing belief in ourselves. And before you know it, growth feels like struggle, purpose feels like pressure, calling feels like a fight. See, when we say breaking in, we lock ourselves into the language of force. It paints you as an intruder, the one that's picking the lock instead of holding the keys. And after a while, what do intruders feel? Fear, guilt, always on guard, and even shame. But here's the shift. The language of force says push, but the language of growth says build. Force sneaks in. Growth plants roots. Force whispers, you don't belong. Growth declares, I'm becoming. Because once you start speaking like a builder, you stop showing up like a burden. Not breaking in, but becoming. Now, let's say you do break in. You step into the role you've dreamed of, the job, the title, the industry, and then you hit that first bump, that one line of code that just won't run, that client pitch that falls flat, that meeting where your words get lost before they leave your mouth. And that's all it takes, one bump, one stumble, one miss. That's when imposter syndrome walks in uninvited, settling on that wall of doubt your words built, and whispers, you were never meant to be here. I've seen it in the eyes of countless professionals, and I felt it myself. I was 14 when I got called up to varsity basketball, hadn't played a single JV game. One day after a preseason scrimmage, the varsity coach pulled me aside and said, hey, you're coming up. 1 month later, I was in the starting five, a freshman starting on varsity. Now, where I'm from, that was unheard of. I was to talk around town, the school, and the locker room. It came with pressure, expectation, and just like right now, all eyes were on me. But even with the jersey, the spot, and all the game, I played small. One missed shot, one turnover, and I was questioning everything, wondering if maybe they made a mistake. Simply put, I was playing like I didn't belong, and that mindset led me to holding back my game, trying not to mess up instead of taking the lead. That was the first time I felt imposter syndrome. Not in a boardroom, not behind a desk, but at 14 years old on the basketball court. One day, my coach pulled me aside. He looked me in my eyes and said, "You don't have to prove you belong. You've already done that. Now go play your game and play free." That single line was my shift, my crossover from doubting to aligning. Doubting is shrinking in the room, silencing your voice, playing scared. Aligning is when your mindset, your gift, and your moment are all on the same court, and you trust yourself to take the shot. See, in basketball, the crossover happens when you change direction to get past your defender. But in life, the crossover happens when you change your mindset to get past your own self-doubt. Not breaking in, but becoming. Now, let me be clear. Becoming is not a fairy tale. It's not magic, it's not always pretty, and it's definitely not easy. There will be obstacles, there will be challenges. The road to becoming will test you, whether it's being the only voice in a meeting that sounds like yours, or a leader who only sees what you lack instead of what you bring. I know this firsthand. I'm from a small town in rural North Carolina called Fuquay-Varina. Now, if you just tried to pronounce that and then gave up halfway, trust me, you ain't the first. Back then, they told me my dreams were too big. But I believed my vision was bigger than any box they tried to keep me in. Truth is, every step was uncharted territory. No map, no compass, no playbook to call the next move. And without those, there were challenges. The missed shots, the wrong turns, the setbacks that could have made me quit. But still, I earned a full academic and athletic scholarship. I became a college athlete, then became a college graduate with honors. I stepped into ministry as the youngest deacon, and I stand before you today, a published author. I was the first in my family, the first in my bloodline to walk these paths, but I never treated anything like I was breaking in. I didn't have a blueprint, but I had belief. And that same belief is what carries us when we make shifts in our careers. It's shifting from surviving to thriving. Surviving is keeping your jersey clean. Thriving is leaving it sweaty because you gave it everything you had. And in your career, just like on the court, when you shift in your attitude, you stop watching the clock and you start owning the game. Not breaking in, but becoming. So what happens when you make these shifts? When you move from an identity of breaking in to one of becoming? That 14-year-old freshman on varsity, he became a team captain, a leading scorer, and an NCAA national champion. That small town boy with big dreams, he showed up on one of the largest media platforms in the world. That young deacon, he became an award-winning talent acquisition leader, placing people in jobs across the world. And those job seekers, the ones that whispered their doubts to me, They went from customer service floors to corporate boardrooms, from retail stores to tech startups, from overlooked resumes to jobs that changed their lives. I stand here before you today as somebody who never forced his way in. I laid a path forward and left the door open for the next one coming behind, the first in their family, the dreamer, the student from the small town. So to the first, the onlys, and the fews, the ones just getting started, the ones who are tired of proving they belong in a room they've already earned. Hear me now, like I'm your coach. You don't have to prove you belong. You've already done that. Now go play your game and play free. Becoming. Thank you.